Hey everybody, just want to do a short video today for you guys. Um, Looking at Bitcoin, watching the daddy of crypto, it is doing its best to hang on into the 70s, which is solid support going back quite a ways, all the way to the beginning of February. Um, it would be nice to hold that and even up into, because if we go back, well, yeah, even in around 72,000 is up here. It's kind of what I was watching for. But if we hold 70 and then over the next couple days we sneak back up into the 72 range, then our Wyckoff accumulation is still intact. But at the moment, it's not looking great, I gotta say. So we gotta hold 70, 72 range in order for the Bulls to hang on. Otherwise, we could go back and visit down here into the low 60s for a little bit more accumulation. But that's not what I'm looking at today. Mainly, one thing that hasn't really been on my radar, and just because there's so much to keep an eye on and to learn about, that things fall through the cracks. But one thing that has really been grabbing my attention recently is Hyperliquid. And I'm sure that it's on a lot of people's radar. It just wasn't on mine, but it is now. It is now. Um, and we can just look at how it's been holding up, how it's been performing against other coins. So let's just look at Bitcoin over the last, well, since August, I guess, the last 6, 7, 8 months now. Um, Bitcoin has fallen 52%, and on this rebound, it maxed at 27% for um, how it rebounded after it found the bottom down here at about 60,000, 59, 60,000. So we had a fall of 52% and then a rebound of 27%. Well, let's take a look at the comparison to Hyperliquid. Well, Hyperliquid, it did fall a little bit farther, but the rebound was substantial. So if we're looking for coins that have a protected downside when Bitcoin falls, however, it has maximum exposure when things turn around, Hyperliquid is has definitely has to be on that list. Like if we look how it compares to other high caps, let's look at AVAX for example. AVAX fell from its peak 2024. Okay, let's go back to well, it was just continuing to make lower lows and lower highs, but it's overall 88, almost 90% down from its highs if we go back and try to compare it fairly from September. All right, September it's fallen 80% compared to 65% for Hyperliquid, and its rebound was 40% compared to, well, even over that. If we're going to go max, almost 115%, 110, 115% for Hyperliquid. So if we're just comparing price action to price action and we want to have more exposure to coins with more volatility, possibly more upside on rebounds than Bitcoin offers us, Hyperliquid is up there on my list for sure. And it's not one that I'm holding, but it's one that I'm going to start building a bag. So I'm just going to take a look at quickly. Now does not look like the time to start building a bag for Hyperliquid, but I'm going to take a look at some charts, some indicators to help me determine when I want to start DCAing into hype and build my bag. Um, let's see here. I had a, here's another example. So total three, right? So the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, ETH, and stables, um, the rebound's 32%. Hyperliquid, 113%. So this is one that I want to have exposure to when the time is right. So I'm looking here. You can see when it's time to sell and when it was time to buy. Okay, looking at this indicator here, Z-score tweaked. So we can see right now it is not time to buy Hyperliquid. according to several indicators. This is one that I'm looking at. Um, I'm going to be waiting until we get down here until we see a green S print. That might be a while. Uh, I'm also watching for these levels here between 35 and 30. Right. So once we hit between 35 and 30, I'm going to take a look at some of these indicators that I'm watching and see where we are. If we look like we're at a place where it's worthy of starting to DCA into Hyperliquid. It's been holding up really well. You can see here Bitcoin, um, January 19th, Bitcoin had this massive fall. And then what happened January 17th? What happened here? Hyperliquid just went. It had a correction and then it went again. So this is one that I mentioned before. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on it. Um, not only because of price action, but also because of its utility. Let me jump over here. So let's take a look at its utility. 7 out of 9 layer 1 blockchains are losing money. So over here on the Alpha Factory, taking a look here at sector research, and we can see when we scroll down, Hyperliquid is the top crypto that's actually making money. So use case, fundamentals, it does really, really well. Uh, so you can deep dive some of these different coins here and see how they pit up against each other. So that's one reason it makes money. Another reason is what they've been working on here. So Hyperliquid is being used for opening the US markets up to the world. So just recently they've had announcement after announcement that commodities, indices, individual stocks are all going on chain and opening up the perpetual market to everybody throughout the world, excluding, okay, it's not available yet in the US, it's not available yet in the UK, it's not available yet in certain places. Ontario, Canada, they have restrictions. But this is the first step on the path to opening things up worldwide, not only perpetuals, but eventually it's going to be stocks. It's going to be basically holding it like spot. Um, but right now, first step, perpetuals for all these things coming on chain, which is massive because it's going to, for the people, for people like us who are mainly invested in crypto, maybe you're not, um, maybe you have Tesla stock, maybe you're holding some of the other Mag 7 or some precious metals, oil. This opens it up for us to make it much easier to bridge from one asset class to the next asset class and follow the liquidity, right? So we're not just sitting around waiting for crypto to do something, but we can follow the liquidity around from precious metals to maybe we see that there's going to be an oil spike because of what's going on right now. So that we can jump over there with some of our trading funds. We we can see the liquidity flow through traditional markets that were heavy into the Mag 7. And then we can see, okay, well, the Mag 7 is going to be doing a ton of CapEx this year. Where are they going to be spending their money? How are they going to get that money? Well, they're going to have to start selling some of their stocks. They're going to have to dip into their cash reserves. Where is that money going to be flowing? Well, they're going to be building things out. There's a lot of materials. And we can start looking into and digging into where this money is going to be flowing in some of the low caps within the TradFi sector. And then we can start front running that liquidity flow. This is exciting. This is really, really exciting. And it's happening first on Hyperliquid. And I think it's important to have exposure to that at the right time. Right now, it doesn't look like it's the right time. It looks like it's overbought. Another place that I want to take a look when I'm deciding whether I want to invest in an asset or not, altcoin rules. So pull up altcoin rules. Ethereum's not looking too bad. Well, I'm not looking at Ethereum right now. I'm looking for Hyperliquid. So let's take a look here. Altcoin rules, we're getting pretty high. We're getting pretty high. It doesn't look like we're super oversold yet. Sorry, super overbought yet on the altcoin rules, but we're getting close. It's not, shows that we're at 48. Okay, neutral. Anyways, where I'm more interested in is somewhere under 25 for DCA levels. Okay, so I'm going to be using my altcoin rules setup. I'm going to be using what I have over here in my trading view indicators. I have a few others that I'm going to be looking at because this is a bag that I want to build. All right, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. Coin that I'm looking at next to build a position on is Hyperliquid. These are some of the reasons why. These are some of the levels that I'm going to be looking for. Um, what do you guys think? Do you own Hyperliquid already? Are you plan on building your bag? What coins are you looking at and why? All right, guys, chat soon. That's it for now.